Right now at 6, fall festival season continues in the 4 states. We're heading to Carthage for the biggest of them all, the Maple Leaf Festival. Plus, we're celebrating Pitt State's homecoming game today. We're going to take you to Gorilla Fest, and we're going to take you on another trip, this one to Fort Scott, where the fire department took time to show off their newest piece of equipment.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Maple Leaf Festival is back for its 56th year with the theme Fall into Carthage. Now today, the festival held a parade throughout the streets of downtown. Schools, businesses, and organizations around Southwest Missouri and the area marched in and rode through the parade. Attendees at the event say the parade is a long-standing tradition for the town. It's also one of the biggest days of the year for Carthage.
Absolutely, yes. This is our biggest event. So I would say this is one of our holidays here in Carthage. So everyone partakes in it. Everyone has their places that they go. Everyone has their people that they see and meet up with after the parade, before. It's a good time.
Now the parade began on the Carthage Square and ended at Carthage Middle School. The Pitt State homecoming festivities culminated with Gorilla Fest this morning, and it featured tons of students and alumni having a blast before the big game. Now, plenty of PSU faithful were ready to party as they packed Gorilla Village. There was no shortage of folks grilling and barbecuing. There was live music, fun and games for both kids and adults, and plenty of people partaking in a morning beer. Attendees also got to enjoy a pregame pep rally before kickoff. One PSU alumni tells us that why homecoming is one of his favorite events of the fall.
I think just seeing all my buddies that I went to college with and everybody that I enjoyed my time with here. I was here for 6 years. I got a master's degree and met a lot of people over the years, and seeing everybody back and supporting the Gorillas, man, it's the time to be alive.
Later in the show, we're going to have some highlights from PSU's homecoming matchup against Lincoln during the KOAM Sports Report with Sports Director Jacob Leonard. The Fort Scott Fire Department today held an open house to show off some of their new equipment. That new equipment included this beauty. This is just part of it. It's a brand new ladder truck, which officials with the department demonstrated, as you saw there at the open house. In addition to the new equipment, the fire department had fire safety demonstrations, including a smokehouse, which children could practice escaping from. Officials say it's the fire safety aspect that's the most important.
It's very important for children to understand the aspects of fire safety, how to react when your smoke detector goes off, and very important for adults and parents to understand how to make sure your smoke detectors are working and the monthly test that needs to happen.
Now, the ladder truck wasn't the only new piece of equipment on display. The department also managed to get another truck recently that they wanted to show off as well. And it was an absolutely beautiful day for all this stuff. Nick Kelly joins us.
We just had to get past quite a cold start this morning, Chris, but sure enough, with a lot of dry air, open blue skies in place, which we're still seeing plenty of right before we start heading towards sunset. That is what allows us to warm up nicely back into the 60s this afternoon. After dealing with quite a few potent storm systems throughout the course of the week, it's nice that not only is the radar network bone dry, the Skywatch storm tracker, it's working, but we're not picking up a cloud anywhere across the entire 4-state region thanks to high pressure sitting on top of Wichita Falls. While it does keep us quiet to start the evening out, it's going to allow temperatures to drop off quite a bit once we get past sunset. For now, though, we're seeing mainly lower to middle 60s from 69 east. Maybe a few more upper 60s the farther west you go from 69. But as far as the rest of the evening goes, we'll keep it as clear and quiet as can be. But that means starting the evening out in the 60s and dropping back this time, Chris, into the mid 40s to start your Sunday morning out. We'll break down how the week ahead's shaping up here in a bit.
It is certainly fall-like out there, finally. Nick, thank you. Well, COVID-19 vaccine mandates going into effect across parts of the U.S. are facing pushback from some Americans. Meanwhile, an FDA advisory panel's recommendation of the boosters for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines could be approved as soon as next week. Michael George has the latest from New York.
California Governor Gavin Newsom's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for students won't go into effect for months. But some parents are already protesting, with plans to keep their children home Monday amid calls for a statewide walkout.
The vaccine mandate, I don't think, should be forced upon anybody.
The California mandate covering public, private, and charter schools is set to kick in after full FDA approval of the vaccine for different age groups. In Washington state Friday, Boeing workers turned out in the rain with picket signs protesting the plane maker's vaccine requirement. Some 125,000 Boeing employees must get shots to comply with President Biden's executive order for federal contractors. In Chicago, a vaccine mandate showdown is heating up between the police union chief and the city's mayor. The police union president is urging officers to defy orders to report their vaccine status to the city.
Any sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or above who gives you an order to go in that portal is not valid.
They do so at their peril. Insubordination is not something that we can tolerate.
Saturday, President Biden addressed the toll the coronavirus has taken on law enforcement during a memorial service honoring fallen officers.
Tragically, in the past 2 years, COVID-19 has caused more deaths in the line of duty than all the other causes combined.
And more lines of defense against COVID-19 could come as soon as next week. The FDA and CDC are reviewing an advisory panel's recommendation for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccine boosters. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A recent CBS News poll finds that most Americans say COVID vaccine should be required in the workplace, at restaurants, and on airplanes. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Private First Class George Thohoff served in the Army during World War II, his hometown, Iola. And we're proud to recognize Private First Class George Thohoff, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, you can learn more about our other heroes, or you can nominate one of your own at any time, and all you need to do, head over to our website. It's KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, still ahead on the KOAM News at 6, the CDC releases its holiday mask guidance for the year, and COVID deaths set another record in Russia. But first, here's a look at some of the events happening around the area tomorrow. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is issuing a holiday-related mask guidance. COVID-19 hospitalizations went down over the last month, but some public health experts warn the U.S. could see another spike in cases this winter, particularly around the holidays. The CDC's #1 advice is to get the COVID-19 vaccine before gatherings or travel. For kids not old enough to get the vaccine, the CDC says the best way to protect them is for people around them to be vaccinated. CDC stresses that people should still wear masks indoors, especially the unvaccinated. Outdoor gatherings are still considered more safe, but that may get tricky when temps start to drop. Russia has reported its highest daily number of COVID-19 deaths, according to data from the country's Coronavirus Response Center. 1,002 people have died in a 24-hour period. The country also has recorded a new all-time record of daily cases with more than 33,000 new infections. However, despite those numbers, lawmakers continue to reject a countrywide lockdown. A new push to lower sodium in packaged foods and pandemic has caused millions of new cases of depression and anxiety. Michael George is here again with a look at the week's top health stories.
The COVID-19 pandemic has taken a toll on mental health. The first global estimate published in The Lancet shows depressive disorders surged by 28% last year. That's more than 50 million new cases. Anxiety disorders increased 26%. Women and younger people were the most affected, particularly in countries with major lockdowns. The FDA is asking food manufacturers, chain restaurants, and food service operators to voluntarily reduce sodium in processed and packaged foods. The agency has new guidelines for 163 categories of foods. The hope is to help Americans reduce their average sodium intake by about 12% over the next 2.5 years. And a new study in the journal Pediatrics finds healthy infants born during the COVID pandemic had substantially shorter hospital stays than those born before the pandemic, with no change in readmission rates. Researchers say the findings suggest shorter hospital stays for healthy-term infants may be safe even outside of a pandemic. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A little later on the KOAM News at 6, how one Seattle neighborhood is getting a little spooky.
Thankfully, nothing spooky about our weather. We're keeping quiet for tonight, but we'll break down the week ahead, see if it stays the same. Coming up. After we got past quite a cold start this morning, we were thankful that dry air coupled with plenty of sunshine made quick work of warming things up throughout the course of the day. After we saw temperatures topping out mainly in the 60s once we got past our last storm system, look at how fast we tanked into the upper 30s and lower 40s this morning. I'll have to double check the almanac later to see if that possibly ties or breaks any records. But after our cold start this morning, you can see how Joplin Regional went to 66 degrees this afternoon. And looking back on the course of the week, we started out quite warm before we had that good round or two of rain and storms late Sunday going into Monday. But behind that front, we dropped to 71 on Monday. Then the middle of the week was back above normal, but now the past few days, we were thankful to see highs back in the mid 60s. Although I do see a bit of a warming trend taking place through early next week, even though we keep things dry. I have our next storm system that I'm watching. Wants to swing by on Wednesday with some more rain chances on the way. And then behind that front, we'll keep mild as we can drop back into the 60s by the end of the week. As far as where we sit right now, 7th and range line, about as clear as it can get. 63 in Joplin with the west wind at 6. But look at that dew point at 36. You put these two numbers into a good equation to give us the relative humidity. It's 37%. So there's a lot of dry air in place, which means once we get past sunset, these numbers are set to drop off quite a bit once again. Lower to middle 60s on the Missouri side, but a few mid to upper 60s for sure in our corners of Kansas and Oklahoma. As we get past sunset, though, look at how fast we dropped to 56 by 8, upper 40s by midnight. I think most of us will be lower to middle 40s, so not quite as cold as it was this morning, but quite a bit of a chill in the air expected once again as we get your Sunday morning started. I have to widen the view out in the Skywatch storm tracker to show you it's working. But we're not picking up on any cloud cover in the entire four-state region thanks to high pressure sitting over Wichita Falls at the surface there in the Pacific Northwest. That is our next front. That'll be on the way in by Wednesday, but it's got a lot of real estate to travel before it gets here. So we're going to see this jet stream in the upper levels try to build back in. That's what's going to send us back into the 70s tomorrow and through the middle of the week before that next storm system rolls on in. Fortunately, we keep things quiet and clear throughout the course of the night, but as long as that breeze stays light and that high pressure is still around to keep us dry, that is going to mean lows mainly dropping back to 44 degrees. Thankfully, though, we keep it nice and sunny once again throughout the day tomorrow. And that breeze pretty light, too. Out of the southwest and south at times to 5 to 10 miles per hour, but that pushes us to 66 by noon and a high of 73 in downtown Joplin. In fact, everyone's fair game to go mainly lower 70s, so we're not looking bad to wrap up this weekend tomorrow. Let's look down the road, though. Let's take you through Monday and Tuesday. You can see how we're kind of underneath a little bit of an upper level ridge. That's what allows us to go back into the 70s for the middle of the week. Here comes that next wave out west. You can see the upper wave passing to the north, but it's strong enough to push the next cold front through. And along it, we'll watch for scattered showers, even a couple of thunderstorms. But once we get behind that and the jet stream sinks back to the south, mainly dry to get next weekend started at least. And you can see how that's going to respond nicely in terms of temperatures. We'll go 73 for tomorrow and Monday after we drop back into the upper 40s again Monday morning. Then you can see the rest of the 7-day forecast is very fall-like. Temperatures that we can certainly handle. 77 on Tuesday, 72 on Wednesday, and then staying mainly in the mid-60s Thursday and Friday. And then we'll see if we can get a few more rain chances in here by Saturday, Chris.
You know, some chilly nights, but all in all, if it could be like this year-round, I personally would be fine with that. I don't know about Jacob.
Yeah, I would be all good with that.
Yeah. See what you can do and let us know, okay?
I'll drop something in the suggestion box.
I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you so much. Turning to sports now, Jacob Leonard here. It is homecoming weekend for Pitt State. Big weekend.
Chris, the Gorillas welcome in Lincoln this afternoon. We'll talk about that. Plus, Missouri Southern aims for back-to-back wins against Central Missouri. Those highlights and more when we come back. This weekend is homecoming weekend for the Pittsburg State Gorillas. Pitt State welcomes in Lincoln today, looking to bounce back from a tough loss at Northwest last weekend. The Gorillas are 4-2 coming into this one. Lincoln 0-5. Lincoln punting early. Adam Smith flies in for the block for Pitt State. Gorillas, good field position. A few plays later, quarterback Max Sexton fakes the handoff, turns on the wheels and scores. 27-yarder for Sexton. 7-0 Pitt State. Then, pass game gets going. Sexton to Bryce Murphy. And the Osho product breaks loose for the 29-yard touchdown. Gets the PSU lead to 14. Now another local guy, former Pittsburgh Purple Dragon Elijah Harris. Can't let him get behind you, man. Harris, 74-yard touchdown catch and run. His first of 2 touchdowns. Now 21-0. You want some more local guys? All right, how about this guy? Former Frontenac Raider Brandon Malikas gets the interception for Pitt State. Then this one here, the one that brought the house down, all right? Adam Albertini, the St. Paul product. 6 more guys on the field than when he was in high school, but the result is the same. 52-yard touchdown for Albertini. All Gorillas today. They win on homecoming 59-7.
It was crucial, just from the beginning, coming out and, starting strong. I thought we did that defensively. We came out and got them to punt the ball, got them back to our offense, and our offense, executed as they did.
Thought we got out to a fast start last week, and then in the second half we kind of slowed down, but it was good to keep that momentum going this game all the way through.
We knew that if we could get the jump on these guys, get the momentum early, that we could do what we did and get some guys in there that haven't really seen a lot of game time and just kind of move the game along.
To Missouri Southern, the Lions host Central Missouri, aiming for their first home win since 2018. First drive, Nathan Glades rips off a huge run, 58 yards. But the Lions got to settle for a field goal. Mules get a touchdown to go up 7-3. Then hand off to Josh Mercer. Gets outside and flies by everybody. This one 56 yards for the score. Lions back on top. Central answers, but then back to the run game for Southern and back to Glades. This time he will get in. 17-14 scoring frenzy in the first quarter. All defense in the second. Malachi Broadnax gets the pick. Lions add a field goal to take a 6-point lead at half, but UCM right now leads 28-20 with 12 minutes to go. Well, the Fort Scott Greyhounds picked up their first win of the season last weekend, shutting out RPA College. The Fort Scott remains at home this week, aiming for back-to-back wins with a tough one against Coffeyville. Now, the Red Ravens are 4-0 and ranked 7th in the nation coming into this one. The Greyhounds with the punt in the second quarter here. Get a big play on special teams. Returner muffs the punt there. Abias Wakes jumps on it for Fort Scott. The game pretty slow to start, 3-3 at halftime. Third quarter, though, Coffeyville starts to pull away. Handoff to Star Thomas. He gets through to the far side and in. Red Ravens take a 10-3 lead. Fort Scott defense, though, continues to fight all day long on the Jackson Thomas run. Ethan Hicks makes the hit, causes the fumble, then recovers the fumble. Coffeyville, though, just too much today in the fourth. Thomas rolls out and finds Isaiah Taylor. One move for Taylor, and he's in for the touchdown. Red Ravens pull away to stay perfect, beating Fort Scott 31-3. Well, the Independence Pirates, 6-0, ranked number 3 in the nation. They're at home this evening against the Dodge City Conquistadors. Right now, Indy's up 28-14 at halftime. Have the latest from this game tonight at 10. Now, one more JUCO game here. NEO on the road against Cisco, looking for their third win in 4 games. Norsemen miss a late 43-yard field goal. They fall in a tight, low-scoring game, 14-12. NEO will be back home next weekend, hosting Gordon's Prep. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
We're going to take you back to Carthage for a more in-depth look at the Maple Leaf Festival and Parade. Plus, we're heading to Pittsburgh for the Gorilla Grind 5K, and we're heading to Fort Scott where the fire department is showing off some new equipment. We got those stories and a lot more coming your way tonight at 10. Take a look at this. Are you looking? Good. This Seattle neighborhood is getting the Alfred Hitchcock touch this Halloween. That's thanks to this replica of the Bates Hotel from the movie Psycho. It's the work of Richard Knowles and his best friend who made the hotel to scale. They even painted it in shades of gray because Hitchcock shot Psycho in black and white. Definitely spooky season around the area. Time for the spooky stuff to come on out. Nothing spookier than the Bates Motel.
Right.
Nothing spookier than the way Pitt State just...
Yeah, well,
you can't describe that.
That's what you're supposed to do on homecoming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they did.
And we showed you that Brandon Malikas interception for Pittsburgh State. It's hard to believe, but that's actually his first career interception for the Gorillas, for the Frontenac legend. It's a legend in Frontenac.
Impressive. Jacob, thank you. Nick, final check of that beautiful forecast.
Yeah, we're going to turn quite cool again tonight, but not as cold as this morning. We'll say mid-40s for overnight lows, but we'll keep it dry and nice again tomorrow with highs for 73.
All right, guys, thank you. That's our time for now. We'll have another glorious newscast for you at 10, and we'll see you then.